Massive shakeups are happening to the sleep apnea VA rating. It's something that will make it much more difficult to actually receive this 50% rating, which is a high value claim. We're talking over $1,000 per month. Many people think that these changes are happening imminently, so most likely here in 2024. So I'm going to show you what the new criteria are. I'm going to tell you whether or not you would be grandfathered in under the current rules or whether you would apply to the new criteria, how to be granted in under the current rules, and equally as important, hey, how do you win with the new 2024 criteria? If it happened, worst case scenario, to where I'm going to be applying under these new criteria, how do I win with those more restrictive ones? Jordan Anderson, VA Claims Academy. Hit the like button, definitely subscribe. I'm going to read you briefly. I'm working with a client here. We've been working for a few months now, increasing his rating. I'm going to read you briefly what he emailed me. He says, "Brother, I just wanted to ask you if you could do a video on the changes happening to sleep apnea ratings. I just checked my profile. I'm rated at 90%, 89% exactly. That's good. Good work. But one of the 4 claims I'm still waiting to be rated on is sleep apnea, which would take me to 100%. I'm currently waiting on Optum to schedule my CMP exam, but I'm hoping I can get scheduled for my exam and rated before the new changes take place." So my friend, you know who you are, I won't say your name. Great job, you're really high speed. I'm excited to get this across the finish line for you. Let me answer your question, and for all those watching as well. Right now, sleep apnea is a very simple rating. They're going to look at you and say, hey, are you diagnosed? Okay, yes. Are you service connected? All right, you did your service connection, whether it's sleep apnea secondary to your service connected GERD, or maybe you had it diagnosed in service, so that's just a primary claim. However you got it done, it's service connected. Cool, check. The last thing they're gonna look at, were you prescribed a CPAP machine? This is a continuous positive airway pressure machine, or APAP, you might get it referred to, an automatic positive air pressure machine. If yes, if you were prescribed a CPAP, 50% rating, right there, 50% rating. It's very simple, very easy. That is changing very soon, okay? That is changing. For the new update, they're gonna look at you. Do you have a CPAP? Yes, you have a CPAP prescription. That's great. Now, does your CPAP improve your sleep apnea? Is it working? The new criteria look at your CPAP, and you will only receive a 50% rating now if your treatment is ineffective, or if you are unable to utilize a CPAP machine due to another condition. They didn't say due to another service-connected condition, so we're still going to have to see, okay, does it have to be service-connected, or can it just be any condition? Does the condition have to be documented, so on and so forth? So there's a lot of sort of speculation that I'm going to give you here, especially when I talk about how to win the 2024, because I just don't have the real-life battle-tested data yet, even though we're doing a lot of simulations in the background to sort of win these claims. Let me tell you whether or not you're going to be grandfathered. Right now, typically as it stands, is whenever you complete your intent to file, that means you log into va.gov, you go through, you click through VA disability, and it pops up, hey, your intent to file date as January 4th, 2024, okay? Your intent to file date is whatever the day is that you do it. Your intent to file date, that is used to essentially freeze you in time, meaning that when these changes typically take place, if you are in progress, you have already done your intent to file, typically you will be applying under the old rules or the current rules as it stands. Meaning if you did your intent to file in January, but they changed their rules in March, but you're still going through the VA claims process, typically you're just going to be just fine. You're going to be done under the old rules from your intent to file date. So I would strongly suggest that, hey, if you're going to plan on claiming sleep apnea, whether you're doing it primary or whether you're doing it secondary to your PTSD, secondary to your back pain, which caused you to gain weight, secondary to a condition that led to you getting prescribed a medicine that causes weight gain. You can get really creative, but if you plan on doing a sleep apnea claim, I would go ahead and start taking action as soon as possible. I would do an intent to file as soon as possible. That way, again, you can get grandfathered in to the beginning date, because typically that is exactly what happens. Lastly, by the way, hit the like button and share it with someone who needs it, please, because I'm going to get into 2024 or whenever they do this, right? Whenever they do these rules, the rule change. How do you win with the new criteria? Again, disclaimer, take this with a grain of salt. There's no real life data because the rules haven't changed at all at first. But we just talked about it, right? So the treatment either has to be ineffective with a CPAP or you're unable to use a CPAP with another because you have another condition. To me, that sounds like if you're claustrophobic, right? If you have claustrophobia and you just can't stand this thing on your face, it feels like you're just suffocating. To me, that would require, and that would be, adequate for the 50% threshold still. Because, hey, you can't wear the dang thing. You can't wear the mask. More commonly, I would even argue that if you have bad anxiety, if you have PTSD, anything that kind of makes you hypervigilant, anything that can make you paranoid, because I've had veterans, I talk to a lot of veterans, and I've had some of them even before, they don't even know about these sleep apnea rule changes months and months ago, where they tell me, hey, I got the CPAP, but I'm afraid, because I don't use it, and because I'm afraid that the power is going to go out in my house and the CPAP's going to suffocate me in my sleep. That's a very real thing, when these other mental conditions that you maybe are already service connected for, it could spook you into using the machine. I think that this will still qualify you for that 50%. So again, if you have sleep apnea and you have a current diagnosis, a current service connection for PTSD, a current service connection for maybe anxiety, or if you have claustrophobia, maybe in your new treatment records, maybe not even service connected, to me, just my educated opinion, right? Because again, I don't have the real life data yet because it doesn't exist yet. But to me, that would all be the grounds for winning, even with the new 2024 update. Lastly, I'll get into a little bit of myth busting with the old rules. Remember, I told you, do you have a CPAP? Were you prescribed a CPAP? Yes. Are you service connected? Yes. Okay. That's a 50% rating. Notice how I never said you have to use the machine. Right now, under the current rules, you do not even have to use the CPAP. That is not part of the 38 CFR criteria. Should you use the CPAP? Yeah, for your own health. But for the sake of your VA rating, you do not have to utilize the CPAP machine right now. I hope this helped you out. If it did, hit the comments, comment below, sound off, share it with someone who needs it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.